All right, so here's what we are going to do today. All right, so we're looking at day 2 of solving equations by substitution, and today is going to be all based around word problems. All right, so what we are going to do to start this is I'm going to work the first problem, and then I'm going to let you have some time to work on 2 and 3, and then we'll finish some of the notes on the back and things like that. Okay, so for the first thing here on number 1, all right, they're going to give you a scenario through word problems and you're going to have to solve it. So what it says is that one cable television provider has a $60 setup fee and charges $80 per month, and another provider has a $160 equipment fee and charges $70 per month. Okay, so the first thing that we've got to do right here is set up and figure it out. Okay, so for provider number 1, okay, we got to look and see what information is given. Well, for provider 1, it is a $60 setup fee, and then they charge $80 per month. So how do we write that as an equation? Okay. Yeah, so it's going to be 60, but then it's going to be plus 80x. Okay. All right. Now, part 2 is going to be looking at provider number 2. All right. And as we look at that, we've got to know the information that they have. And for there, it's $160 for equipment fee, and then it's $70 per month. So what does that look like? Well, the equipment fee is $160, and then it's how much per month? 70. Okay. Now, those are your 2 equations. That's not really any different than anything we've done up to this point. Here is the next part. Letter A asks you, in how many months will the cost be the same? What does it mean to be the same? Equal. So you're going to take these two, 60 plus 80x, and set it equal to 160 plus 70x. Okay? And then you're going to solve this thing out. First thing I'm going to do is subtract 70x from both sides. And that will get me 60 plus 10x equals 160. Then I would subtract 60 from both sides, and I'd get 10x is equal to 100. Divide by 10, and you should get x is equal to 10. Okay, so what that means is, how long would it take for them to be the same? It would be 10 months. All right. Now, that is stuff that we have been doing all year, correct? Y'all okay with that? How was that a form of substitution, you might be asked, right? Well, here's what it is. You don't know what the total is, so you could really say that it was y is equal to 60 plus 80x, and y is equal to 160 plus 70x. However, they tell us you want them to be the same, so we know we just got to set them equal. Now, here is the substitution part. They want to know, what will the cost be that month? So when they are exactly the same, what is the cost going to be? All right. Well, here's how you figure it out. And it really doesn't matter. You take this 10 for your months and you plug it back in for x. Now, does it matter which equation I use? No, it doesn't. So I'm going to use the first one right here just to show you. I could go 60 plus 80 times 10, and I would get out what? You would get out $860. Okay? Now, do you want me to work it out in the other one to show you it would be the same thing, or are y'all good? You're good? Okay. So, right there, I substituted in what I found for the months to figure out that my total cost is $860. Now, the next part question C is really kind of the new thing. It's what we haven't necessarily done yet, okay? It says, if you plan to move in 6 months, which company would be cheaper? Well, now, what is our X value? 6, because they want to know in 6 months. So as you look at this, you are going to make your X 6. So you've got to find the number 1 and the number 2 values. Well, for number 1, it's going to be 60 plus 80, but then it's going to be times 6. For number 2, it's going to be 160 plus 70, but then X is going to be 6. Is everybody okay with why we're doing it that way? All right. Then as you solve that and multiply them out, 60 times 80 gives you 480, plus 60 is $540. That's all calculator work. The second one, 160 plus 70 times 6. Well, 70 times 6 is 420, plus 160 is 580. Okay? So, the question is, which one is the cheapest? Yeah, you would want to go with option number 1. And then you could say, because it is $40 cheaper for 6 months. Okay? So that is the type of stuff that you will be asked to do. All right? All right, now, looking at these next two, I want to give you some time and get you to try them, okay? So I'm going to give you 10 minutes to try example 2 and example 3, and then we'll go over them. Ready, set, go. All right, so after going through some of that and giving y'all some time, I'm going to speed through it just a hair, just so that we can make sure that we try and get some of these done, okay? So looking at number 2, the Strauss family is trying to decide between lawn care services, okay? So you've got to look, and you're going to have 2 different ones. You're going to have green, okay? And then you're going to have the grass team, okay? Well, if you start with green, okay? Green charges $49 to start and then $29 per month. So what would that look like? 49 plus 29x. Perfect. And then grass charges what? 25 plus 37. So you guys got it. So 25 plus 37x. They want to know in how many months will they both be the same. So just like before, you're going to set those two equal and solve. So it would be 49 plus 29x equals 25 plus 37x. Now, I'm going to do something right here. And y'all tell me if it confuses you. I'm going to do all the steps for combining like terms at once. Are y'all okay with that? So I'm going to subtract 29x. But while I'm doing that, that means I also need to move this 25, so I'm going to subtract 25. So you see how I'm just doing all those steps at once? That will cancel, that will cancel. 49 minus 25 is 24, which is equal to 38 minus 29, which is 8x. Then if you divide by 8, you get x is equal to 3. Okay? So what that means is that in 3 months, they will be the same. Now, the next question is, what will that cost be? Well, again, here you just pick and plug it in. I'm going to use grass right here, so it would be 27 plus 37 times 3. You can choose whichever one you want. You can choose the first or the second, because did you choose the first? Yeah, so watch this. Let's work it out. 37 times 3 ends up being 111. Thank you. 111 plus 25 is 136. Is that what you got? Yeah. So it would be $136 that month. Now, C, looking at it, it says, if the family will use the service for only 6 months, which one is better? So that's where you've got to take each of these and multiply it by 6. Okay. So, y'all help me out. Y'all have already worked this out. What did you get for the first one? 223. I would agree. What'd you get for the second one? 247. So the question is, which one is cheaper? The first one, which was green. Okay. So, yeah. So which one will be the better service? So that would be the green team. Okay. Y'all with me? So green lawn. Okay. All right. Last one right here. Oh, I don't know what just happened. All right. So last one right here before we go to lunch, and we'll finish these up after. Casey wants to buy a gym membership. One gym membership is $150. So we're gonna write it as we go. So for gym number 1, okay, it's gonna be $150 plus 35x, and I got that from right here. So one gym is $150 and then 35 per month. Gym number 2 is going to have no joining fee and $60 per month. Okay, so as you look at number 2, it is just 60x because it's just that 60 per month. You good?
Yeah, I put plus 60 plus.
I got you. Did you put 60 plus 0?
No, I just put 60 plus 0.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah, because it's 60 per x. So then you want to set these two equal. So 60x is equal to 150 plus 35x. Then it's solving it out. Minus in 35. 25x is equal to 150. Divide that up. And you get x is equal to 6. Okay, so it'll be the same at 6 months. All right. Now, the next one is, what will that cost be? Easiest thing there to do is just take 60 and multiply it by 6. And you get 360. Okay. Now, the next thing says, if Casey plans to cancel in 5 months, which option is better? Well, you're going to have 150 plus 35 times 6. And then you'll have 5. And then 60 times 5. Okay? Well, if you do 35 times 5, that's 175, right? Plus 150 is 275, 325. So you get the blue, option 1, to be 325. And if you were to do the yellow, you would be at 300. Well, the better option is option 2. So gym number 2, because you would save $25. Math is fun when you know what you're doing. Did y'all hear that, digital learners? All right, now looking at the back of these notes, let's look at here. All right, so number 4 is a little bit different kind of problem. Right here it says the sum of two numbers is 50. Okay, now it said the sum of what? Two numbers. Okay, are they the same number? No. Okay, so that means you've got to represent them in different ways. For example, I would say it is x plus y equals 50. Okay, that is my first thing. Now, the next one says the first number. Okay, so before I move forward, I need to identify. Okay, number 1 is X. Number 2 is Y. All right, so as I'm looking at those, it says next, the first number, so that is X, is, that means equal, 43 less than twice the second number. So how do you do twice the second number? 2 times that number, which is Y. Less than means minus 43. Okay, now, at this point, what do you notice? We have one equation and 2 equations. And what is nice about this second equation? It's already solved for the variable. So, to be able to figure this out, we want to take that and plug it in. So instead of writing X, we're going to write 2Y minus 43. And then it will be plus Y equals 50. All right. Now, you can combine like terms because they're on the same side. So 2Y and Y make 3Y minus 43 equals 50. Add 43 to both sides. 3Y equals 93. Divide by 3. All right, so then you are dividing by 3, and you end up getting Y is equal to 31. Okay, so that means Y is 31, so that is one of your numbers. Okay, now what I would do is take this and plug it back in. So then, to find X, you would say it's equal to 2 times 31, and then it's going to be minus 43. Well, that would end up being 62 minus 43, which is 19. Okay, so your numbers here would be 19 and 31. So you see how this just kind of takes what we did earlier and put it all together. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead just for time's sake. We're going to work out number 5 together. All right. And go through this so that we can go to the next activity. All right. So for this next activity, or for this next one, excuse me, it says the sum of 2 numbers is 74. So X plus Y equals 74. We are going to keep it exactly the same. Your number 1 will be X. Your number 2 will be Y. Okay. Now, right in the second equation, it says the first number is, so X equals 14 less than 3 times the second. Well, 3 times would be Y. 14 less means minus 14. Okay. Now, just like before, you want to take this and plug it in because you already have an X by itself. So you would have 3Y minus 14 plugged in for X. Add 2 at Y, and they have to equal 74. Everybody okay? 3Y and Y make 4Y. Minus 14 is 74. Plus 14. 4Y is equal to 88. Divide both sides by 4. Y is 22. So you just figured out what Y was. So now to figure out X, you just plug it in. I know I went really fast there. Are we okay? Yes. 66 minus 14 is 52. So your numbers are 52 and 22. All right, now, this next one is a multiple choice question that has you just look and decide which represents which. Okay, so you've got to look at this and figure out which words will go with the system that's there. So the top one says that D is equal to N plus 5, and then D plus N is equal to 12. All right, So the first thing it says is you have to decide which one of these would be accurate. Okay, so looking at this, I would say that the D, the letter D, stands for dimes, and the letter N stands for nickels. Okay, how did I get that? Well, I read the answer choices, and that's what they all talk about. Okay, so option 1 says that Roger has 12 coins and dimes and nickels. Okay, and then it says there are 5 more dimes than there are nickels. Okay. G says Roger has 5 coins and dimes and nickels, and there are 12 more dimes than nickels. Okay. H, Roger has 12 coins and dimes and nickels. There are 5 more nickels than there are dimes. Okay. And then the last one, J, Roger has 5 dimes and nickels. There are 12 more nickels than dimes. Okay, so looking at that, I would go through, and the first thing in my eyes is like, all right, well, looking at all these, I see the equation D plus N equals 12. Well, that means the number of dimes plus the number of nickels has to equal 12. When the two variables are added together, it gets you your total number. The reason that stands out to me is that means when I look at my answer choices, I have to choose the one where Roger has 12 dimes and nickels. So it cannot be G and it cannot be J. Okay? Because those do not have where the dimes and nickels add up to 12 like the equation is telling me. Okay? So then it's all about looking at the second one. All right. Well, the other equation, which here's the top equation, it says dimes are equal to nickels plus 5. Nickels plus 5. Okay. So you have to think about what that means. Does that mean there are more dimes, or does that mean there are more nickels? More dimes. Because the dimes are the nickels plus 5. Okay? So when you think about that, even though the plus 5 is on the end, you've got to think the dimes are equal to whatever number of nickels are plus 5. So the correct answer would actually be F, because that is the one that states there are 5 more dimes than there are nickels. Okay? All right. The last one here. You are given the kind of opposite scenario. Here they tell you Elizabeth met 24 of her cousins at a family reunion. The number of male cousins, M, was less than twice the number of female cousins, F. Which system can be used to find the number of male cousins and female cousins? Okay? So, here's what I know, and this question is really hard. How many total cousins were there? 24. So M plus F has to equal 24, right? Now, the other thing they tell us is that the cousins M, okay, they say the number of male cousins was 6 less than twice the number of females. So we know M is equal to 2 times the females minus 6. Okay? Now, the reason I have these two, if you look up there, these two options are not shown as is. Correct? So, process of elimination, test-taking skill. I would look for where I do see this problem written. Okay? Well, I see that letter A does have F is equal, letter A does not have that. Okay? Letter A has M plus F equals 24, and M plus F equals 24. So those two are big for me, right? Because those are the same as right there. So I'm going to check first, do their second equations match? Well, if I look at letter A says F is equal to 2M minus 6. Is that the same as what I came up with? No, it's backwards. It's the inverse of it, so it's not that. Well, what if I look at B? Is B the same as what I have written there? Can't be that. Okay? Now, if I look at C, do I see either of the equations that I would have?
No.
Can't be that. So let's look at D. Well, D does have M is equal to 2F minus 6. Would y'all agree? Because that is the exact same thing. Now, here's the part that's tricky. Does it have the top equation?
No.
You say no,
Oh, yeah, it does. It just,
but it kind of does. It's just what, Oscar? It's just moved around. Instead of being M plus F equals 24, they've got F by itself. So if I had M plus F equals 24, and I wanted to get F by itself, I would have to subtract M. And notice, I would get F is equal to 24 minus M. So the correct answer is D. Those last two are more of a challenge type question, but it's something that you could see on a standardized test. You with me? All right, so that's it for today. There's no additional worksheet for this. This is your notes. The only other thing you have is the completion of the activity for the support class. So digital learners, check that out on your Canvas.